Hey everybody, this is Khara CrossFit Brindle. I have a good friend, entrepreneur, and colleague, Gabrielle, with us today. Say hi.
Hi.
So I've been stalking's not the right word. I've been following Gabrielle's journey, and she's been doing all sorts of amazing things. But we've stayed connected over the years, you and I now, and
Yeah.
we wanted to do this video for a while, so here we are. So this video is all about building an authentic brand that helps people trust what you're doing and trust the products you're putting out there, or the trainings, or the courses, or whatever you're up to. And this was inspired by what not to do. So let's set the stage, shall we?
Yes.
So Gabrielle and I were both connected to someone in a different industry who wanted to interview mental health providers and write a book, which we're like, that's probably pretty cool. So I also feel responsible because I sent this person to you.
I forgive you.
Oh,
It's not your fault.
yeah. So we had very different experiences, you and I, with this person who was interviewing us. Do you want to share your experience first and let our viewers know what happened?
Yes. So this person, like Kara said, was interviewing mental health professionals for a book. And so my experience, well, first of all, this is also a lesson in listening to your intuition.
Mm.
And I just kind of felt weird about it when they had emailed me, but I was like, well, it's not really that much time. It's like 10, 15 minutes. Kara already talked to them, like, I'll just do it.
You
So
trusted me. Yeah.
I did. And it's fine because you know what? There was a lesson and a learning opportunity that came from it. And we got on this call, and I feel like in other instances, when people are writing a book, they kind of like set the stage and talk a little bit about the book and what it means. And she didn't really talk about that at all, which I thought was weird. I was like, I don't even really know like what's happening. Like she maybe said like one or two sentences about the book. Um, and then she kind of went on really to kind of sell me on her stuff, and it was a very awkward situation. I will for sure say that. Like I could tell that she was really nervous, and so she interviewed me a little bit, and then she kind of gave me a small sales pitch at the end, and then I of course had to take it one step further, and I was like, sure, I'll schedule another meeting with you. Which I did. And in that meeting, she had put together a slide deck, but I could tell that she had just done it like in the minutes before we talked because the information I had given her, like some stuff wasn't on there, some of it was incorrect. I had asked her a question that was like industry specific to her, and she didn't know the answer. And then at the end of all of that, where she basically showed me that she had no idea what she was doing and didn't really like know which direction she wanted to go in, she also had like this huge sales pitch about her program and was trying to get me to sign up for it. So,
Mm.
yeah.
Yes, cringeworthy, right? Like our viewers are like,
Yes.
WTF, why?
Yes.
And so very different than my experience. So I spoke with this person first, and then she'd asked for a few other mental health professionals to interview. We keep putting this in quotes. We're like, is there a book? Who
Yeah.
knows?
Unclear.
Had found me on LinkedIn. I had actually made that effort to like read my profile and said, oh my gosh, you're an author, you're a mental health professional, you're a financial therapist. Can I interview you? So I thought that was enough to be like, okay, my little intuition didn't go off. But yeah, obviously social skills were a little bit awkward there. They were nervous, but I had kind of started the interview by saying, I literally have 10 minutes to answer your questions. I hope we can do that in 10 minutes. And I don't know if that set the tone differently than
Yeah.
your interaction, because I literally squeezed it in somewhere I probably shouldn't have. But yeah, so like didn't have that experience at all. But when you and I had interacted around it after the fact, we were like, ooh, that really didn't feel good. Your intuition was telling you like pay attention to this. And so we thought it was worth talking about on a video of like how do we help support our colleagues in doing authentic connection before trying to pitch someone something or doing a cold call, because that just doesn't feel very good. So
Yeah.
this is a chance to highlight how much you've grown, Gabrielle, because I feel like you've done this really well in the last few years. Time to like, pat yourself on the shoulder here.
I have such a hard time with that.
I know this is why I'm putting you out of your comfort zone.
I know.
So now that you're a mental health leader, you're a leader
Yeah.
in lots of areas. Obviously, what not to do is like pitch someone before you really get to know them, come and not be prepared. Like I'm hearing some of those things. Do you want to highlight any other things of what not to do before we talk about what works better in your experience?
Yeah, I think those are important. And I think also it's important to say that, like, as mental health professionals, you probably don't have any training in this, and you also probably feel uncomfortable selling yourself, because I know I do.
Hmm.
Um, but, you know, lead with authenticity and know that it's not selling, it's sharing, and that you are helping somebody with this information. And so when you think about it from that way, that can help. But if you are just like, another thing that really pisses me off is when people like add me on Facebook or LinkedIn and then they try and like cold sell me and they just like automatically like dive right into it. And I'm like, that doesn't really make me feel like you care about me or you know about me. Which sounds like this person actually did that right, where she like read your bio
Right.
and knew a little bit about you first. Like that is important because we're humans and we want to feel validated. And so yeah, like cold selling, just like in my DMs, trying to like send me a link to schedule, not knowing anything about me. Or like trying to sell me on something that I also already do, like that also shows me that you have no clue like who
Right.
I am at all.
Right. Yeah, especially because you're like in the Medicare arena, I'm in the Medicaid arena, and then we have these people be like, I can credential you, I can totally bill for you. I'm like, no, no.
Yeah.
We teach
No,
people how to
I
do
do
that.
that.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
tell people how to do that.
Yes. So I'm thinking about that LinkedIn experience of like when you say like no, thank you, and then they still like follow. Oh, I'll follow up with you in a month just to see if things have
Yes.
changed. I'm like, oh, please don't.
Yeah.
So I think there's like some boundary work there around this. But yeah, so for viewers who are listening to this, I don't think many mental health professionals are going about business this way, but I think it is worth talking about with like, please don't do any of those things. In contrast, what are some things that work better under this branding of authenticity? I really like that word. I know it's kind of a
Yeah.
buzzword in our
Yeah.
industry, but like, what do you mean by that for viewers who are like, great, and
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's important too because a lot of people in our field are like moving towards like coaching and consulting, which I totally get. So this is good, juicy info for you to know. And I think a really good example of this is actually I have a webinar that I'm doing this week and haven't really pushed it that much, maybe a little bit. And because I feel uncomfortable, like putting myself out there. But you know, it also is like what I do now and how I pay my bills. So yesterday I had to do some of my own practices to regulate my nervous system. And I just really thought, like, again, this is not selling, this is sharing, and this is really valuable information that I'm giving on a topic that hasn't really been talked about a lot in our field. And so when I thought about it that way, I sat down and I wrote my little post and I shared it, even though I felt like I was like, oh, this is probably not really going to like land with people. And like, maybe I'll just delete it. Like, I don't really know. But I shared my story from my heart and what I thought people would get out of it. And then I had like 5 people sign up for my webinar. So,
yes,
so
from the
when you
heart.
do it,
Mhm.
yes, from the heart, when you do it that way and you think about how this is going to help people and not from a place of scarcity or desperation, it's different. It's going to land different.
Mhm. Definitely. And I feel like just the story always helps, right? Of like, oh, you're a
Yeah.
person, you're not a robot saying, give me money,
Right,
um,
exactly.
which is its own thing. And so, yeah, I think speaking from the heart, telling story, something that I've said in other videos with colleagues is like really reflecting on the gift we're giving. So when you're like, this is sharing, this is worthwhile, this is addressing a pain point that our colleagues might want to know more about. I think all of those, excuse me, are valuable. I also am a huge champion of making sure people can find it after the fact. So like when I
Yes.
think, I'm in a console, I'm like, oh, Gabrielle's content would be so helpful to this person, like being able to find your stuff right away, or send them to the right like spot, whether it's a website or an online store or whatever that looks like. And so that's another piece I think to this puzzle is like put it out
Yes.
there, but then when people want to search on their own of their own accord, can it be easily found? Which I think is another
Yes.
barrier to, having things work in our favor. We've worked really hard to create these things. Let's make sure that they're findable.
That is huge. And that's so funny you say that because yesterday it's totally something similar. I was like trying to send a colleague's information to somebody, or like I knew they had a training and I couldn't find it. And I was like
Mhm.
clicking all over their website and I was like, fuck this.
Yeah,
I'm
like, I don't
sending
have time. Yeah,
it. Yeah. Like,
that's
where is
common
it?
feedback of like, if I can't find it and I'm someone who likes to be well resourced, like that's a problem.
Yeah, exactly.
Mhm. So yeah, so some key points today of like, here are things not to do. Obviously, come in with authenticity, be a good storyteller, share yourself as a human, make your stuff accessible, make it, a place they can find it and share it easily with others. And I think that's served, correct me if I'm wrong, Gabrielle, but that's served you and I the best is like having word of mouth of like someone who's taken something of ours or a freebie we might have put out and said, oh my gosh, I loved this. So now I'm more committed to some of the other things that you might offer. Has that been your experience?
Yes, for sure. And I think that what's kind of goes along with that is like the importance of community and collaboration and connections with people and viewing it in a way from abundance that like I enjoy having these people in my community and not as a way of like gatekeeping and scarcity. And I understand, I get that, I've been there too. But when we feel desperate or when we're looking at people in our circle as like competition, that's not going to serve you or get you anywhere. Like even Khara and I have a lot of things that we talk about that cross over, and I don't feel competitive with her at all. And in fact, like I feel like I'm excited that there are other people in this space talking about those same things because we all lift each other up, and I know that I trust her. So that is important too. Like don't see everybody as competition and that they're like taking something away from you. When you view it like that, it's not going to help you get anywhere faster.
Right. You're not going to show up well. And thank you for the compliment also. Like losing my voice, getting all choked up. But no, I agree. I think there's plenty of people to do the work. There's plenty of offerings out there. And I think building a network of people you trust makes it that much easier to say, oh my gosh, please go take her content, take her course. Here's a resource that's valuable. A label that's been reflected to me a lot recently is being a connector. And I really pride myself in being a connector where it's like, I'm happy to say, here's Gabrielle's work, here's Alex's work, here's Liliana's work, all these people you all see in videos
Yes.
in my channel. Um, because I trust them, like you named, but also I know that the content is valuable and it's well
Yeah.
done and it's quality. And so I think that's been an important part of our journey, you and I as entrepreneurs, is just to be able to say, like, if I don't have the answers, here's someone who does. And that feels really good too as a leader, or at least it does for me.
It does to me too, because I don't need to know everything. And I know that that's really difficult for us too sometimes. And that's been difficult for me in the past, but I know now like there are things that I can't help certain people with, or I know that like Khara says it better than I do, or she has more experience in this. She has like more of the financial literacy. So I send those people to you
Thank
because
you.
that is like your specialty and it's not mine. And so there is room and space for all of us. And, if you do things authentically and you share, I really feel like that it does come back to you.
Yeah, definitely. So for viewers who are trying to get started in this of just like, oh my gosh, this sounds amazing. I definitely want all of this. I don't want to live in scarcity. I want to live in abundance. I think one thing that you and I have done relatively well is to put out things that have low to no cost. And I know that sounds weird coming from a financial therapist because I'm also not about giving away things for free. However, I think these breadcrumbs lead to some positive connections where they feel like they know us. Maybe it's something like a video like this where it's just talking about a valuable topic and that builds trust so that then they come towards other things that we're doing. So for someone who's watching this video who's like, where do I start? Put yourself out there, make some
Mhm.
videos, put out some content, create some posts for Instagram, like whatever you want to do that shows that you're thinking about these things and see how people resonate with that. Will that become a lead magnet? That's the
Yeah.
hope. It's not a guarantee, but people start to realize that you're coming out consistently and that the stuff you're putting out is quality. Or, that's the goal anyway. What are your thoughts, Gabrielle?
Yeah, that I love that you said that because I don't know, it's like the universe just bringing all these things together today. Um, I have done a lot of things for free or low cost, and one of them was I did a podcast recently, and somebody who listened to that podcast went to my YouTube channel, and on my YouTube, and it's on my Instagram and TikTok, I have like these 4 videos, and it's like a 4-step business plan. And so people are like, I charge for that. And I'm like, I'm just going to put it out there and see what happens. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, I did. And it's free, and you can go watch it on how to like start a private practice. And this person watched those videos and she scheduled a consult and then she hired me as a coach yesterday because she was like you would think, oh, that's like information you should charge for. But why would they hire you if you just gave it out for free? Well, because now she trusted me and she was like, that was really helpful to me. And I want to learn more and I need more help. And so then she hired me. So you just never
Beautiful.
know where things are going to come from. And I loved that it came full circle like that because, yeah, sometimes I do get frustrated when I'm like, oh God, I'm doing all these podcasts and I did this and this and this. Like it didn't pay me in cash, but it pays to build authority and credibility and to get your name out there because you, again, you just never know where people are going to come from.
Definitely. And hopefully some of these things are fun too. Like that's the thought that popped in my
Yes.
head is like, is it fun to talk about what you do? And is it fun to like go on those podcasts or those videos and just like have a conversation? I think for me, those are enjoyable because it's still part of that creative energy that I love so
Yeah.
much. And I think I can only imagine you wouldn't sign up for 12 podcasts if you're like, I hate this, right?
Yeah, exactly. No, this is like so easy for me. And yeah, I feel the same way. Like that is fun and it's easy for me and I enjoy it and I get excited about it. And so that's why those are the things that I like to do and I want to do more of them. Again, it just all kind of blends together. Like then you have the creative energy, you feel good. When you feel good, you're practicing more from an abundance mindset. When you're practicing from that space, like things come to you easier. Like it's all goes together.
Mhm. It's a beautiful thing. So, viewers, I know that you probably have lots of questions just based on this very quick tip of the iceberg conversation on branding and authenticity and how to show up and be successful as an entrepreneur or a small business owner without feeling like you're being inauthentic. That's where this really spurred from. Please don't cold call. Please don't do weird sale moves. It doesn't land
Yes.
well for any of us as humans. Maybe try these things. Try these breadcrumbs of putting yourself out there, building your network, and putting something out there that creates value or is a gift to your community or your audience. And
Hmm.
I think Gabrielle and I can say it's helped us in building what we've built and we're having fun doing it. And so the hope is that would be the case for you as well. Gabrielle, any last
Yes.
thoughts for people as we wrap up our video?
I think that you said it perfectly and succinctly, and it's really just you have to start somewhere. So just start putting yourself out there and, just know that it could come back to you in ways that you never imagined.
Yeah. And months or years later, too. I think that's
Yes.
another phenomenon where it's like, wow, I put that video out like 4 years ago and someone still found it.
Yes. I mean, the same thing has happened to me just like randomly. They're like, "Oh, I heard you on this thing like a year ago and I'm reaching out now because of this." So those
Or I'm
things
ready.
live on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So that's why it's like sometimes you just don't know what seeds are going to blossom into something as you plant them, but give it a chance, whether it's months or years, and someone might come out of the woodwork. So
Yeah.
I hope you're feeling empowered watching this video with us today. Gabrielle, thank you so much for having this conversation. I know the community can benefit from it and hopefully they'll, let us know how it's going for them. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me and would love to, if you see this and you're watching this, send us a DM, put a comment below and let us know what your thoughts were and if you have any other tips that have worked for you.
Love it. All right, viewers, stay tuned for more videos. See you next time.